Joining me now is Senator Dan Sullivan from the Commerce and Armed Services Committees, and a great friend. Senator Sullivan, thank you for doing this, sir. I want to get to...
Good to be on the show, Larry.
Pardon?
I said great to be on the show again.
Oh, yes, good to have you. So I want to get to Saudi oil versus American oil. But first, let me begin with this reconciliation package. I'm looking at this thing and doing some research. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. And I don't know why anybody would want it. Joe Manchin, who's done so much good work, he's really letting everybody down, it seems to me now. And it's very gimmicky, and it's kind of phony baloney. Anyway, what do you know about this package, and what can you tell us that's going on here?
Well, I think the more we get out the numbers that you just talked about, the more likely it is that we're going to deep six this thing. I mean, of course, as you know, if the Democrats have full 50 senators supporting it, they can move on it. But what we're doing is we're talking about what's actually in it. And you just described it perfectly. Bone-crushing tax increases on the most productive element of our economy, small businesses. It is literally insane to do two things right now. Dramatically increase spending when their American Recovery Act of $2 trillion, the Democrats' partisan bill, put gas on the fire of inflation a year and a half ago to do another $1 trillion of spending, and then on the likelihood of an eve of a recession, do major tax increases. It is completely upside down economic policy, and what we're trying to do is get the word out. Hey, we've all had discussions with Joe Manchin. He's a good friend of mine. I'm not sure he understands that aspect of the bone-crushing element focused on middle or on small businesses, which is certainly the backbone of West Virginia's economy, but it's the backbone of America's economy, Larry, as you just described.
You know, Senator Sullivan, it's just like Senator Manchin has been describing this, and he did it again yesterday, as a FICA loophole. It's not. It's not a FICA loophole. In fact, it has nothing to do with FICA. And I hope he maybe hears this riff that I made, or else does his own research, or else does a little bit of reading, you know, talk to his senior staff and whatnot, because it has nothing to do with FICA. All this
you're exactly right.
It's just an attack on small businesses, and it's an application of the net investment tax, which was explicitly rejected back in 2010. I mean, that's the amazing thing. They looked at it and they rejected it.
In the point of what you just mentioned, and I think it's really important, NFIB and other groups who represent small businesses in America coming and weighing in the way in which they've done, outlining that this could be as much as a $400 billion tax increase on small businesses. That's what we need to keep amplifying. And I'm hopeful that Joe Manchin will see the light. He's seen the light on other really dumb schemes that Chuck Schumer's put forward. And I'm hopeful with this information out, he's going to see the light on this one, and we're going to kill it like we did Build Back Better.
Well, like you, I'm hopeful that Senator Manchin sees the light, because I've been a big admirer of his and friend. And
me too. Me too.
He's a good man, but this one, he's on the wrong track. Senator Sullivan, let's go, to your bread and butter up in Alaska, the whole oil and fossil fuel energy story. You got Joe Biden now. His own guy said today, gave a press conference or a background briefing, they are going to ask Saudi Arabia to supply the market with more oil. Okay? So, I just want to know, why is Saudi Arabian oil better, cleaner than American oil and gas, for that matter? Help us out here.
It's not. And what the administration needs to do is send an envoy to Alaska, and an envoy to Texas, and an envoy to North Dakota, and say, hey, can we help you increase production here? The answer is hell yeah, you can help. You can get the boot off the neck of our producers. You can start permitting infrastructure. You can start going to financial institutions and telling them to loan to small oil and gas and medium oil and gas producers, not crush them. Those are all things, as you know, Larry, that they did from day one, is to limit production of American energy, to limit and kill infrastructure and pipelines, to go to Wall Street and appoint financial regulators who actually are trying to choke off capital to the energy sector. But here's the thing. You know, the president is showing up in Saudi weak. He's from a position of weakness when he's there. if he were going there and we were the superpower of energy that we were at the end of the way we were at the end of the Trump administration, that is a much stronger position than to be begging for oil from dictators, whether it's dictators in Saudi Arabia, Iran, or Venezuela. We need to produce more American energy. We have the highest environmental standards in the world, the best working standards in the world, and we need it here at home, and we shouldn't have to go begging when we have plenty to produce in our own country, certainly in my state.
You know, Senator, I'm just going to read you Amos Hochstein, the administration's special presidential coordinator for energy security and infrastructure. And so he did a backgrounder with Fox Business, and he says the administration's plans to discuss with the Saudis, quote, the importance to make sure that the global economy is well supplied with oil. Now, I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, really? We have a lot of supplies in Alaska and Texas, in the Gulf, in the Bakken, in the Marcellus. I mean, how about somebody asks Texas or Alaska to well supply the world oil market? You think we could deliver that or could have delivered that if somebody had asked?
We could deliver it, right? And what we need is a federal government that wants to support us in doing that. And what we've had from day one of this administration is the opposite. Like I said, send an envoy to Alaska, send an envoy to Texas. You don't have to go all the way to Saudi Arabia. You know, heck, these guys even sent an envoy to Venezuela, begging that dictator for more oil. It makes no sense. It's offensive to the average American. And again, Larry, you know, we have the highest standards in the world. We have the best workers in the world. The idea that we have to go outsource this to dictators around the world not only undermines our economic security, but it really undermines our national security. So I hope that, when they get home, they realize that they need to focus on domestic production and quit begging dictators around the world for more oil.
All right, we'll leave it there. Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan. We appreciate it.